What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to On the Roll with Matt. Today, I want to talk about something that takes maturity, courage, humility, and a steady mind. Making amends with people who may still be frozen in dysfunction, and learning how to move forward without being pulled back into the same broken cycles. Because growth sounds inspiring until it starts costing you access to old environments. Healing sounds beautiful until people who benefited from your silence become uncomfortable with your voice. Restoration sounds powerful until you realize not everyone wants restoration. Some people want familiarity. Some people want control. Some people want the old version of you because the old version of you was easier to manage. The old version of you may have tolerated chaos. The old version of you may have confused guilt with responsibility. The old version of you may have believed that keeping the peace meant sacrificing your own stability. But when you start changing, when you start becoming healthier, more grounded, more awake, more disciplined, and more spiritually anchored, you may become the odd one out. And that is all right. When dysfunction is normal in a room, healing will look rebellious. When brokenness has become a family language, peace will sound foreign. When people are stagnant, your movement forward may feel like betrayal to them, but you are not betraying people by becoming healthy. You are not dishonoring people by refusing to participate in patterns that damaged you. You are not cruel for creating boundaries around your life, your mind, your home, your marriage, your sobriety, your faith, your peace, and your future. Making amends is powerful, but we need to understand what it actually means. Making amends means taking ownership of what belongs to you: your words, your reactions, your attitude, your pride, your avoidance, your contribution to the conflict, your part in the damage. That is maturity. That is humility. That is growth. But making amends does not mean becoming responsible for someone else's healing. It does not mean absorbing blame that does not belong to you. It does not mean pretending harm never happened. It does not mean handing full access back to someone who has shown no desire to change. You can be sorry for your part without surrendering your boundaries. You can forgive without handing someone the keys to your life again. You can love people without giving them unrestricted access to your mind, your emotions, your family, or your future. Access is not automatic. Access is stewardship. And we need to confront one of the most damaging beliefs people hide behind. But it's family, as if family automatically cancels accountability, as if blood gives someone unlimited permission to wound you, as if loyalty means tolerating dysfunction no matter what it costs your mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical health. That mindset is dangerous because blood is blood has been used to silence people, guilt people, trap people, and keep them tied to cycles that are slowly breaking them down. Family should not be an excuse for chaos. Family should not be a hiding place for manipulation. Family should not be a free pass for disrespect. And doing whatever it takes for family should never mean destroying yourself to keep unhealthy people comfortable. Real family should carry love, accountability, humility, repair, protection, and truth. Because blood may explain the connection, but it does not excuse the dysfunction. Not everyone belongs in the inner circle of your life. Some people can be loved from a distance. Some people can be respected without being trusted. Some people can be forgiven without being restored to the same position they once held. Some people can sit at the edge of your life until their actions show they are capable of sitting closer. That is not bitterness. That is discernment. Because reconciliation without repentance is not restoration, it is repetition. A conversation without ownership is not healing, it is performance. An apology without changed behavior is not repair, it is noise. And you have to be logical enough, rational enough, and grounded enough to recognize the difference. Emotions will tell you to run back because it feels familiar. Guilt will tell you that boundaries make you selfish. Old wounds will tell you that distance means you are doing something wrong. But wisdom says, I can care about you and still protect what God is restoring in me. Wisdom says, I can own my part without carrying your part. Wisdom says, I can hope for reconciliation without living in denial. Wisdom says, I can leave the door open without standing in the doorway begging someone to walk through it. That is where real growth begins. You stop trying to control outcomes. You stop trying to convince people to understand you. You stop trying to force accountability out of people who are committed to avoiding it. You stop shrinking yourself to make dysfunction feel less exposed. And you start focusing on what is actually within your control, your healing, your choices, your response, your boundaries, your restoration, your obedience, your future. Because in every way, shape, and form, you are responsible for the person you are becoming. You are responsible for whether you keep growing or stay bitter. You are responsible for whether you keep healing or keep reopening the same wound. You are responsible for whether you build a life rooted in peace or keep renting space in chaos. You cannot control who apologizes. You cannot control who matures. You cannot control who tells the truth. You cannot control who rewrites the story. You cannot control who chooses dysfunction over restoration, but you can control whether their dysfunction becomes the blueprint for your life. And for me, from a Christian worldview, I believe in forgiveness. I believe in grace. I believe in redemption. I believe God can restore what looks impossible. But I also believe God gives us discernment. Forgiveness does not require foolishness. Grace does not require unlimited access. Love does not require the abandonment of wisdom. You can pray for someone and still have boundaries. You can wish someone well and still keep distance. You can leave a seat at the table for a real conversation, but you do not have to keep serving your heart to people who only come to consume and never come to repair. That table should be set for truth, not manipulation, not denial, not blame shifting, not emotional games, not one person doing all the work while the other person protects the same patterns that cause the damage. A real table requires real ownership. A real conversation requires humility. A real relationship requires changed patterns. And reciprocal restoration means both people are willing to look inward, speak truthfully, listen carefully, and rebuild with integrity. Until then, you keep walking, not with hatred, not with arrogance, not with revenge in your heart, but with a steady mind, a guarded spirit, and a deep commitment to the life you are building. You can leave the door open for reconciliation, but you are still allowed to move forward. You can keep the table set, but you do not have to sit there forever. You can desire peace, but you do not have to re enter chaos to prove that desire is real. Some people may not understand your growth until they are ready to face their own dysfunction. That is not yours to force. Your assignment is to keep becoming whole. Your assignment is to keep walking in wisdom. Your assignment is to stop abandoning yourself for the comfort of people who are unwilling to change. So make the amends you need to make. Own what belongs to you. Release what does not. Set the boundary. Adjust the access. Keep the door available for real reconciliation. But do not chain your future to someone else's refusal to heal. Because sometimes being the odd one out is not rejection. Sometimes it is separation. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is God pulling you out of the very cycle that almost consumed you. This has been On the Roll with Matt. Keep growing, keep healing, keep walking with wisdom, and remember, restoration is beautiful, but it has to be real.